lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Sean, would you like to make a motion?
Ooh. Yeah, I gotta make sure I'm reading in the right spot.
Just reminding you.
I do, but where am I reading it from again? It's right here, right? No.
Yeah, right on the inside.
It should be on the inside. Yep.
No, that one doesn't. Okay, so
It is, but you have to word it how you're aware.
all right. Yeah, you do it now. I'll.
All right. Oh, and yeah, so basically say I make a motion to seal the non-public minutes
Oh, this.
indefinitely.
Okay.
Make sure
As
you do
it
the
would-
first session.
Affect that
Yeah,
person.
Okay, all right. So yes, I want to. Yes.
Make sure you say the first session, because we will have a second session tonight.
Okay, so I want to make a motion to seal the non-public minutes indefinitely from the first session that we had earlier tonight, because they could adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of this board.
I'll second.
Motion by John, second by Sean to seal the minutes of the earlier non-public session of tonight's meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? The ayes have it. For those of you watching at home, we are continuing our work session that was supposed to only last till 6:30, but it's going to take a little bit longer. So, and then we will continue with the rest of the agenda from there. So back to Chief Larash to discuss the Fire Department Capital Reserve Funds accounts.
Yeah.
So,
Just to John's point though, what he's saying, right, is what I think he's saying is the way we do things allows us to even have this revenue, because if we didn't,
That's
it
correct.
would be a loss of, say, $270,000 in revenue and then funding the $230,000
Correct.
that
So
we
the only
produce
choice
from
to
the
fund
building.
taxes.
Right.
That's basically the point. So that's why I don't look at it as a loss in revenue. I think it's an income source that we're allocating to do equipment replacement.
and instead of paying interest on bonds,
That's
we can
correct.
put money to make a little bit of interest off it.
That's correct. Listen, I still think there's a lot to do in, as you pointed out.
Mhm.
The point that I was making about when you said 500,000, in my head, I really want to make sure that we've accounted for. So basically, anybody that has, or any of the funds that we have from a savings perspective, whatever we're saving for, we just want to make sure we can articulate, here's the replacement cycle of the thing, whatever the thing is, right?
Yeah.
Like because unless we say as a community, we want to change the service levels, whether we want fewer fire trucks, okay, but still we're a community of 3,000 people with this many buildings, and we, our requirement is X, right? So that's anyway.
Okay.
I basically spent the last month having an emotional meltdown meltdown about the cost of replacing this godforsaken fire apparatus.
The engine with the ladder.
I just can't wrap my head around that. But we do have, as you said, as long as we agree that this is the level of service that we're gonna provide to people in this town, and I think it is, we have to find a way to pay for it.
Right.
I have not always been a fan of the capital reserve funds, but I've come around on them. That's a big bite.
It's hand sanitizer.
Yeah, that's a big bite, taking that much revenue out of the.
It's ridiculous.
So,
Yeah.
now, the only other thing that was interesting, Chief, was you got on here on the sheet, the starting balance of 73K. But in the warrant article proposal doc, where does it say? It says our 2024 balance.
For which fund?
The fire equipment capital reserve
That's-
fund.
Different fund.
That's different.
All right, so I'm blending the two when we talk about the 500,000. So I thought we were just saying you want to change SRF.
That's ambulance revolving fund.
Yep.
That's different than this fire equipment, this is different, so.
But,
That would drop down to, say, 50
yeah,
instead of the 180.
Right,
yeah,
And we'd have effectively like 450 coming from building revenues going
Correct.
into
into now.
the ambulance revolving fund.
Into the, oh, I see, so
Yeah.
we're lowering the, it's not lowering the ambulatory revolving fund in favor of this, it's the other way around because of the way it operates.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
Okay,
If you're looking at these sheets, when you're looking at it on the computer, right, it makes more sense. There's probably a label that could be on here.
yeah,
The first, right, it says change SRF to include fire apparatus,
Yep.
retain and fund CRF.
yeah,
The first table from 25 to 2051
yeah,
is the SRF. That's not actually the right label for it, but it's easier to call it
Okay.
that.
yeah,
The second one is what the capital reserve fund, which is that, I had 431, I guess the exact balance is 426. So that's the two different funds and then the funding strategy to meet those
Yeah.
needs. And
So
then again,
basically-
that last one's just the total, take the total, and that's what the tax impact is every year.
yeah, so
Roughly.
right now what we're saying is instead of the 180, this is what you were saying earlier about, instead of 180, make it
Right.
50. And
Right.
basically, instead of having it as a reserve fund here, we're gonna keep it all in SRF.
No, you'll
No, you
still
still
have
have the
the
other.
capital reserve fund.
the trustees handle the capital reserve funds and the treasurer handles the revolving funds, so. So
Okay,
you'll still have two separate funds. This number, by the way, is going to drop, my new estimated number is 379,605, so in the fire equipment, I'll take this, but
Right, 1 year one, I have that coming out.
oh, is that's gotta be the compressor that we just approved?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm better now.
Yeah, Sean, I agree. I hate it. I think it's crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, the prediction was we would be somewhere in the $700,000 neighborhood. So, I mean, when you're getting to that point, it's another 300 grand. But, yeah, it's time and space. It's this rep group issue that, again, Congress is doing whatever Congress does, and maybe they'll, fix it a little bit or something. And then it's just the changing world that we live in. And this isn't certainly, just to be known, right? We're not looking at $1 million fire truck because we are like, yeah, we're gonna buy the Pierce or the Sutphen or the Rosen, the high end. But this is still two of the, kind of more blue collar community manufacturers that are competing at that price. Because if we were going to those manufacturers, we would be $1.3 million. We know that because we have a bid from one of them of $1.3 million. So the other benefit here in doing it this way, and obviously the not financing it thing is a big benefit, but is it opens up the door to conversations that we've had at the department, Rob and I have had, of, and I can't sit here today and say that there's gonna be an option to replace engine 2 as a used, piece of apparatus that we can, find the right deal on. For a number of reasons. One, because the used market is super crazy, as you can imagine, just like it is in any other vehicles. The other side of it is as your primary attack truck, you really, it's tough to say, oh, we can concede on that for 10 or 15 years of use. I really think, and I think it's going to make a lot of sense, to really be looking at the used ladder truck market when that comes due. So, at least if nothing else, when that time comes at $2 million, and maybe 4 or 5 years down the road, you're planning on increasing that allotment, and you spend 1.6 or 5 or 4 or 7 on a replacement, now you can forego that for a couple of years. This will be a work and living document, but it opens up those possibilities versus saying, yeah, well, this is what we know we're going to do, and we're going to finance new trucks at $2 million and $3 million down the road.
Okay, so logistics, if we put that on the warrant to change that, do we also have a warrant article to buy the truck, or do we You wouldn't have to, because then you'd have next year $500,000 that you could put down on a new truck.
Right. Probably at some, if it were to move forward, then in all likelihood, at some point over the next year, we would come forward with whatever that low bid is and say it's time to sign a purchase agreement, and then we would have that, right, that discussion around, you know, what, do an early chassis payment. We would not be in the boat to pay for the whole thing up front.
No.
I can guarantee that. But that early chassis payment right now looks like it's probably like a $50,000 to $60,000 savings over the overall number. So that's real money, right? I have that kind of worked into this price right now, so it's not gonna make these numbers look any better, but, yes, it does allow you to do that. Should the town, whether this group or the town at town meeting, not wanna move forward with that plan, it starts to put us pigeonholed toward financing and bonding, and we absolutely, by 2027, have got to have engine 2 ordered. One, we're just gonna continue to see
Yeah.
ridiculous price increases, but two, it's gonna take, we've got to plan on it taking 4 years. Hope that it takes 3 or 30 months, and know that it may take a little bit longer than 4 years, but it's, you know,
It's also gonna fail in that point in time at some point.
it in all likelihood is, so the sooner we can at least have the truck on order, the far better off we are.
Yeah, whether it's the pump or the, it's gonna either be the pump or motor, not understand the last 5 years.
You know, I think the thing is, and, you know, it's a definite goal of mine. There's a total cost of ownership that you can argue about an individual piece of equipment. But honestly, I think you can almost go by department, right? Like, so, I don't know, the overall fire budget's roughly 2 million.
2 million, yeah.
Right, so it's around $2 million, okay? So again, you start to look at that, at the overall piece of the budget. Again, it's a services conversation. You know, I've not met a single person from a community side that said, no, we don't wanna have that, right? Like I think there's tremendous support. It's incredibly important to us, that's why I asked the question about the 500, or is it 550, like just making sure we have everything properly categorized. That way we go in and go, this is what it costs to run this department. Okay, fine, you didn't want to do ambulatory services. Well, guess what? If we get out of that business, you're now going to make up the difference, because it's not like we're not going to have an engine 2, and it's not like we're not going to have a ladder truck. So that's sort of, to me, that's sort of the put and take.
Sean or Scott, do you have any? Okay.
I'm good with making the change. We can avoid paying interest.
Why?
So we'll confirm the wording with the attorney and the DRA, get that added in here then.
You know, at the end of the day, it's the best value for the town to provide the best service. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's all I want to have to do with this year. Focus on
All
that.
those numbers in my mind,
Actually-
right, can we adjourn?
There's one more thing, one for Ben real quick, just because he's here, if that's okay with you.
Yes.
On the, if we skip, Article X9 is police, we're pulling that. We're not putting it on for radios, so that will come off. I just texted and found out. Article 10 is your capital reserves. Question on the fire equipment, this says 180. If we are gonna do this, change the ambulance revolving fund, what would this number?
Doesn't that drop to 50?
The 50, Ben, is that?
Yeah, and then, based on what happens, we might amend it afterwards.
Okay.
So, why are we dropping X9?
He's looking into lease options,
Okay.
and I said that if it's anything over a year, he still has to bring it before the board, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a warrant article
Yeah.
if it's in his budget, so.
Does it make sense to, I don't know, Chief, if you want, if you should meet with Planning Board / CIP and Budget Committee, just to go, okay, hey, just to lay this out for you, here's what we discussed.
We'll present these we present these warrant articles to the budget committee anyway.
Okay,
So I have to present the draft, and then they come in for the public hearing usually and present them.
all I'm saying is you know, that this particular piece is,
I may have him
Intricate,
present the
right?
draft.
It's a big, yeah.
you know what I mean? Because this is a change in operating mode, is really what this is. This isn't a, hey, we want to save this much. It's a, we're doing it this way, here's how we're funding it.
I'm having problems over here. I might actually have Ben come when I do the draft, because I think it would be a good conversation at the draft level
Yes.
before they vote on it. So if Ben was agreeable to that, so you have to check the schedule I sent you.
It's gonna be tough, but
Okay.
And then the rest are,
Joanne's here from public, but she's also, wanted to talk to you about, I didn't change it, yeah, I did. So next one's under X10, which is the capital, yeah, we did the others. Under capital reserves, accrued wages, I left it at 25, which was last year.
okay,
I didn't change it. We had an assessment, though, Joanne and I reviewed the assessment capital reserve together. We're down to $8,000, but we may have to spend most of that $8,000. We're reviewing, we have to talk about, meet tomorrow sometime and talk about it. We're getting a bill from the assessment company saying they didn't bill us right over the past 4-year cycle. And it's like, what is it, $14,000?
Yeah,
It can't obviously
We need
all
to
come out of the
talk about.
capital reserve, and we are gonna dispute some of that because I don't understand. We're gonna check the past contract. But not worrying about that, if you could just look at our contract with the, and Joanne, you wanna explain, you can, I can jump in, but the contract total for the next reval is $217,000. So even if you divide that out, it ends up being roughly 43.4. So we decided to put it back to what it used to be in the past years, which was 45,000. There will be a change potentially next year when we go to, not next year, but the year after. We may have to up that number, and we'll talk about that in public depending on the utility appraisal. Next year, we're going out to RFP and we'll explain that more. But for now, 45 would cover the $217,000 bill that we have to pay for the next revaluation.
what did we have in that line last year?
We dropped it to 25,
Okay.
and the years before that, I think we've been, when I was doing it, I know we've been 45, but we've been slowly knocking it back down a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we just got this brand new contract, and the contract jumped drastically, so
Who found the billing error?
they did.
well, yeah, and the conversation that we need to have is because I had asked for end of year billings,
Yeah,
and this is what I do every year to get things
make
in.
sure we bill from this year.
And the individual, the partner, indicated that she found that in past years, some things were not billed, which in my opinion is,
Yeah,
oh, that's too bad. Because
the contract
we've
says.
asked,
yeah.
That's something we'll
so,
have to discuss with legal.
Yeah.
We'll look at
So
the
we'll-
contract, see what the contract said, and see if this is over and above the contract, because then, I think, that'll be a different discussion, but we'll deal with that tomorrow. But, even without that said, the new contract is $217,000 total. It's $35,000 the first 4 years, right, Joanne, and $77,000 in the last year.
Yeah.
So if we average it at 45,000, we won't deplete the account, but we will spend every penny by the fifth year, except for probably, what,
But we
5,000.
are going down a few of this.
We did already.
We already went there.
Yeah, we did already, we got one
That's right.
response,
Yeah.
and signed the contract.
right,
So that's why we recommended 45. I'll change the fire equipment to 50, highway equipment capital reserve. That came from CIP, but the cost of, and he left before we talked to him about it, but I believe the next truck, I think I looked it up last time we talked.
The next truck or the next ambulance?
No, on the highway equipment.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the next, so the bigger trucks are over 200,000. The smaller trucks are close to 100, depending on what we're getting. The F-550s have been close to that. So, I think we said actually it was the backhoe, wasn't it?
Yeah, the backhoe is the next up.
So, 180, he's only got 20, roughly, actually he's got 189,000. It just depends on what the following year truck is gonna be too. You probably wanna look at the 2 years together.
Right, and the next one up is another,
Big truck.
There's a big truck, right?
no, it's not, it's Victor's truck.
Oh, the 550, yeah. So, Benny, how much is the backhoe? Did we ask when we talked about this?
Oh, one,
150 to 175.
yeah, I thought we said 175.
Yeah, so we do probably wanna fund this then, but do we need to fund it at the 180? I don't know. That's a question probably when done.
I was gonna say, wouldn't CIP try to figure that out with the department?
Well, Don does that, and Don does the
That's
CIP.
based on his recommendations.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Police vehicle was taken from CIP, which is 77,000. So, and then town building maintenance, I put, what we did last year was 10, but if we're now
Include the
responsible
library.
for another building,
Yeah.
we probably should up that number.
Yes.
Probably to 50, and my guess is 15, you know, if 10 was
Well,
sufficient.
we're gonna be below 50.
In my opinion, it needs to go to 20.
And,
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
okay.
How many police vehicles do we have?
I'll tell you.
4.
No.
No, we have more than that. We have probably 6 or 7, but
We have almost as many cruisers as we have officers.
not quite, but close, yes. Yep.
Really?
Worksheets. I'm gonna go to the CIP and just look real quick.
It used to be, we had basically 4 frontline
We have 7.
and 2, yeah, we ran 6 vehicles for a long time,
We have the K-9, the chief, and then 5 others,
yeah.
so,
Right now you have 4, I believe 4 assigned.
that's chief, K-9, yeah. Yeah, that's it, right, Tim, Chris, chief, and the K-9.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, you will note at the top of the page, I moved the Article 2 is to see if the town will allow the operation of school districts, I keep calling them school districts, social districts in,
A little
within the
different.
town of Bristol. That's gonna be on the ballot, so that will be Article 2, right before the zoning amendments. And then X11, I got the wording straightened out with Joanne and I did, we went into the DRA portal and this is the, shall the town adopt the provisions? So technically, we have to adopt it, even though we already have this veterans credit. But because the way the law is changing, now we have to adopt it as the optional.
Yeah.
So it's an optional tax credit of $2,500 for the service-connected total disability on residential property. And because this is not a non-monetary, even though it's a $2,500 credit, the only people who vote on it on the warrant article for recommendation is the board. So that's why there's only the one line. Okay, Article 12, Joanne and I sat down and went over these. This is the wording from the DRA. One thing that we did put in, one thing that wasn't on the Excel we talked about was the breakdown of income, which currently, I'm gonna let you talk.
You're doing a great job. I'm like,
Currently, the net income is the same numbers that you see in this warrant article, and we're recommending to keep them. And the only reason is because the state levels are, so single is like 13,000. You have to be utter poverty if you're only making 13,000, because it'll disqualify everybody. So a single person, not more than 25,000, or married, 45,000. We didn't feel we needed to change those, but that would be up to you. And what we did change was the asset limits, which currently it's 40,000. So we upped it to 70, and then we changed what it was per category. And that was that Excel sheet where Joanne showed you the towns.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any questions about that one.
And I did watch the meeting, the last meeting where you guys reviewed it and so forth, and I'm in total agreement. You know, I don't think we want to be the highest, nor do we want to be the lowest. And in comparison, in Grafton County, you know, some of our are very low. Some have not even adopted them. But I think this puts us in a much better position, considering the fact too, we had not done anything since, in many instances, since '07 or '09.
Yeah.
So,
Article 13, and again, there's only the board recommendation on that one. Article 13 is the exemption for the disabled. So actually 12, 13, and 15 match. So that's your disabled exemption, your deaf exemption, and your elderly. They match exact. They match right now exact as well. What happens with disabled and elderly, if you apply for both, you can't qualify for both. You can only qualify for whichever's the higher amount, but these match, so. Any questions on those? So Article 14 is different. It's the exemption for the blind. You don't have to meet income and asset limits. You just have to be determined blind by the Blind Services Program, which is Department of Education usually. It's weird. The Department of Education determines that you're blind. And that was moved from 30 to 45,000. No questions?
I'm just doing that something, sorry.
Non-lease?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, you know, they're existing things. This is an easy, you know, although it's a little bit monotonous because, you know, you could go through each one and you get the numbers and you can explain, you know, what changed and where it changed. But this isn't anything new. This is updating based on property values and cost of things.
Yeah.
You know, overall, I don't think it's a hard sell, nor do I think it's not unwarranted, so.
Article,
I don't know if that's, it's getting late, but yeah, I mean, you know, to be fair, I know you guys put a lot of work in that. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time breaking out each one of those and figuring out if it's the right amount, or, you know, we tasked you with, you know, getting us there in the middle. And
This is one of those things that we rely on the expertise of
Yeah.
others for.
yeah.
Yep.
So Article 16, I moved it to the end because I thought that's where you'd want it that day if you're going to put it on the warrant. So the discussion is, it's the C-PACER article. This is the wording. I've highlighted some things I need to verify what goes in those, and I can, if we put it on the warrant. I'll let Joanne speak to it because Joanne did meet with Paul Bemis. She has done a little bit of research about the impact.
yes, I believe Paul came before the board and shared his opinion based on, I think, your comment to Paul was for him to set up a time for us to chat about it, to determine what the workload or impact would be to the land use team. We did do that, and you know, obviously no municipality has adopted this yet. It's brand new, so it's hard to know what the true impact is going to be. However, I will say, based on the program and who may want to take advantage of it, I think the impact will be very, minimal. And I say that because the Business Financial New Hampshire Business Financial Advisory Committee is really owning most of it. The application, the processing, the town obviously will get involved with the assessment of the property, and applying the liens, and having it recorded with Grafton County, which is really not that unusual for other things that we do. So again, it's hard because, I couldn't call another town and say, hey, what's your experience with this, and is it burdensome or anything? But I don't think, personally, I think if it does make it on the warrant article, and it does get adopted, I don't see a lot of take. So, I mean, I'm a proponent of it. I think it's a good thing. Certainly from a economic development perspective, and maybe something to entice businesses with, for betterment or improvement. Paul shared with me his example of being Odisea. Franz, they've just spent all that money on the coffee shop, and he says it's leaking energy, and maybe that's something that they would want to consider doing, is improving it, but they just don't have the capital to do it, or maybe that's not where they ultimately want to be forever. So this would follow the actual property. It doesn't follow the owner. So I don't have a lot to offer on it, only because there's nothing out there for us to compare
My
it
big
to.
concern with this article is that no other town has adopted this yet.
Right.
And I'm one of those
Right.
people that likes to slow play
Mhm.
and see what happens with everybody else and then
Right.
make that decision. And I was the same thing, I had the same opinion with the,
So,
what do you call
Up
it?
66?
What's that?
Up 66?
No, the,
The
Solar.
capital reserve?
energy,
70,
the solar for the.
No,
not
the
solar,
capital, either community power or the capital
Community
reserve.
power, that's what
I
it
was
is.
gonna say fire truck, but that's okay.
No, I'd rather slow play this.
Well, and I did just realize, so there's one part highlighted that says, which shall encompass the entire area. So those words, you actually have to decide where you
Where
want
it's
this
going to be.
encompass. I put in this and highlighted it because I figured I'd have to ask you, because on the actual warrant article, it says shall, and then encompasses in parentheses, encompass the entire area within the boundaries of so I was thinking town of Bristol, or there's another spot, but it doesn't tell you what to put in them,
Well,
but you could decide, maybe
you
it would
could
be
say like
the
village
historic
district
district
or
or
historic
something,
district.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and under that scenario, should the planning board have input into, we want this in certain zones? I don't know. I'm just,
Well,
for me, I know when I talked to Paul, my first concern was just sort of workload. So from your perspective right now, you're not worried about the workload. You kind of look at this and go, okay, follows the property. I know that when I went through the documentation he presented the last time, there were a couple of spots where it's like, the town is still the administrator, like, the town still has to administer the program. It doesn't hit us financially, but we still have to do stuff, so.
right.
That's what I was ultimately worried about the last time we talked about it.
Scottish,
Yeah, after the boundaries, the next highlighted area, whereby properties within the boundaries of the district may fund qualifying improvements to real property through private lenders,
Is this what this said, or did I recommend?
an assessment agreement that doesn't.
It says may fund qualifying improvements to real property, because I typed it wrong. To real property through private lenders whereby I missed a sentence.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It says whereby the financing is then secured by a special assessment lien on the property.
Yep,
So I gotta fix that, if we put it, but
But, so agreement between the property owner and the
Well, I left that, it's blank. It doesn't say. That's the warrant article with all these blank spaces you're supposed to fill in. I'm not clear.
But that's where the program goes.
I have to go read the RSA thing. Well, because it says you can assign, so it does say it has to be placed on the annual warrant by the governing body. It can't be added petition. But we still have to hold a public hearing after this, even after it's voted. And then,
I don't have enough information at this point to
Right,
kind of
exactly.
figure that out.
yeah,
I agree, I would love to see another town do it and show us the process. You know, what did they word? Let's look at the towns that, at the end of this, let's look at the towns that do it and say, okay, how did they word the document and what does it mean?
and how
for
much
their-
was their workload really?
Right.
Joanne, maybe if you talk to Paul, because I know I'll say this to him,
Mhm.
maybe the Energy Committee should do an inventory of where we think this is and then sort of go to some of those property owners. Because it's all gonna take time, all this is gonna take time anyway.
We did ask him to do that already.
Yeah.
But if you were going to pick a space, my recommendation would be the entire town of Bristol.
Yeah,
It would be maybe village commercial areas, because this is what this is going for, is
Well, so
commercial.
that's actually my point. So I don't know that I would want this available in residential zones, right?
Right.
So we would do probably industrial and commercial, and honestly, this is where the planning board would be sort of like, hey, guys, we're thinking about this, like, you know.
It sounds like the consensus is to hold off a year.
I would agree.
I do have to let Paul know I pulled, he might be watching, but I pulled his Buzz article because we hadn't decided to put this on the warrant yet.
Right.
So we won't put it in the Buzz, the article, but I'll let him know that I pulled it and that
Yeah.
the board has decided not to put this on the warrant this year.
Okay,
And then we can have a bigger discussion with him, so.
let's move in.
Oh, can you see the last question on the bottom? Does the board wish to do a warrant article for lighting in the new municipal lot, or, I'm getting a quote, we do have to light up the lot a
How much
little
is
bit. I haven't gotten the quote yet, so I don't know if I should just, I don't know if you wanted to do more lights to tie it into the downtown, or if we just wanted to worry about a couple for now.
We'll worry about a couple.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we do something off that current utility pole?
We're supposed to be, I'm waiting for the,
Because I'd rather wait to do the final plan when,
yep.
if we look at redoing the
Parking lot,
Yeah.
yeah, the
We'll
asphalt,
lay it then,
Phase
do it then.
1,000,000%.
Okay,
Got it.
let's get back on track to the main agenda. Joanne, you can hang tight right there, we'll just work through a couple things here. Non-public and public meeting minutes for the December 4th meeting.
Make a motion to approve the non-public and public meeting minutes of December 4, 2025.
I'll second.
A motion by Sean, second by John to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda of 12/18/25, consisting of accounts payable, special payment manifest dated 12/12/25, accounts payable, reserve funds manifest dated 12/12/25, accounts payable manifest Grafton County 12/16/25, accounts payable ACH manifest Harpers and Wex 12/18/25, accounts payable manifest 12/18/25, payroll payment manifest dated 12/18/25, 5-year review of veterans credits for the following: map lot 203131 in the amount of $750, map lot 114056 in the amount of $750, map lot 115047 in the amount of $750, map lot 219030 in the amount of $2450, map lot 115024 in the amount of $750, map lot 229010 in the amount of $2450, map lot 219024 in the amount of $750, map lot 216060 in the amount of $750, map lot 107064 in the amount of $750, 5-year review of approval of elderly exemption for map lot 114016 in the amount of $24.50.
That is written wrong, sorry.
Look.
Okay, hold on. Updated approved veterans credit for the following: map lot 116003-030 in the amount of $750. Map lot 116030 in the amount of $750. Approval of new veterans applications for 2026, map lot 203078 in the amount of $750.
It goes on to the second
Keep going,
page.
you know, page.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know there was a second page.
I don't know if you want to go back and on number 8, do you just approve it without, it's elderly exemption and a standard veterans credit, and just don't do the dollar amount.
Okay, so that was 8, going back to 8, 5-year review and approval of elderly exemption for map lot 114016. And then continuing item 10, which was the approval of new veterans applications for 2026, map lot 115074 in the amount of $24.50, map lot 205020 in the amount of $750. Intent to cut 25-059-03 for map lot 219044. Intent to cut 25-05902 for map lot 102018 and 102050. Intent to cut 25-059-04 for map lot 209047. Removal of veterans credit for the following properties as they no longer qualify: map lot 219018, map lot 104029.
I'll second.
Okay,
Let someone second that.
John, second by John to approve the consent agenda as read. Any discussion?
You got the verbiage right for number 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the consent agenda is approved. Okay, tax rate.
I put this under Joanne just because I figured it was easier to, I thought it would be good to have a conversation about how the board established a tax rate, where we started, and then what we applied to it. I only put the approved tax rate is under the number 5A, but I do have where we started if you want.
Okay, so there's obviously been a lot of discussion around town, on social media and everything about assessments in the past year and how that was going to affect people's taxes. And a lot of people are concerned that because their assessments increased or almost doubled, that their tax bill would almost double. And we're here to allay those concerns, and the tax rate has effectively dropped approximately $10 per thousand, as we set the tax rate at $13.16, which was offset by $500,000 from the general fund to keep that rate a little bit lower while still maintaining a healthy balance in that account, so we don't have to continue to borrow money for payments to the schools in the county, etc. Anybody have anything else they want to add other than what I just brought up?
Just one point of clarification. Effectively, it's the same, but it's important that the $500,000 comes from the unexpended fund balance.
Yes.
And not the general.
I'm sorry, yes, let me go.
Yeah, which there are only a couple of reasons we can actually spend from that. Natural, declared disaster, emergency, and when it comes to setting the tax rate. And those are funds that, if we don't spend our entire budget in a year, or we have additional revenues, those are funds that go into that, those are dollars that go into that fund. And so it's recommended to keep it at a certain level. And that was a conscious decision also to try to I know my feeling was that we had enough money in there to be able to do that. I was all for the 500,000.
If
Yeah,
we
I
did
guess.
use the 500,000, the tax rate would have been $13.63. So it did, using the 500 did drop it a little bit
About
more.
50 cents, yeah, roughly. Yep.
And just for reference, if I look at my own property, I saw an assessment increase of about 89%. And going with that, using the $13.16 tax rate, I was looking at an increase of about 3.4%.
I didn't do the percentage on mine.
Everybody's-
Yeah, you
percentage,
did.
yeah.
My valuation effectively doubled within a few $1,000s. And my tax bill went up a little under 200.
Well, and I think the other thing that's obviously important, right, is we're talking about the municipal portion of the rate,
Correct.
right? So that's, one of four pieces. I do think, because I'm still trying to do the comparisons of the education portions, and again, I think I've said this to everybody separately, like, we need to educate the kids. That is, that has to happen. But I'm looking for some more transparency in how we compare the numbers for a number of students that are in Bristol.
I sent that to you.
Yeah, but there was still some questions, so like, do we talk to that, like, how do we go through that? Because I don't think it's anything.
We don't
We
set
don't.
that, but if you have questions about it, we can certainly set up a point, have them come in and try and answer those questions.
Okay,
So-
because that to me is still, I'm trying to like look at that, and I know you guys have done a whole bunch of other comparisons, but that isn't something we control, from a Bristol perspective. I do think though we have to make sure we dig into that so we're properly representing the Bristol taxpayer.
Can I make a comment too? Just to kind of go on the tails of you guys. I would like to publicly thank you guys for your support in all the social media comments and so forth, as well as really the taxpayers in the town. I know it's been unsettling because, people have opinions to share and it goes like firestorms. And, I appreciate the support of this board and how you've responded to some of those. We've tried to stay at bay a little bit in responding to some of those comments. Cheryl and Carrie have been fielding calls nonstop, as well as obviously our side of the house. So I appreciate everybody's patience. We certainly would have loved to have had the tax rate out much sooner. But actually we beat last year. I think last year we didn't have it until like the 17th or 18th, so.
I was gonna say though,
We were a
they're
little,
not due until
we were-
February 4th though.
right, we were a little ahead of schedule, so.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
Well, thank you and your staff for everything you did to get that done. Okay, moving on. Do you need an official vote on the rate? No, okay.
Well,
Uh,
no, sorry, no, because I can't change it now.
Tax warrant approval.
That's in your packets under number,
5B.
my screen changed. It should be 5B. And Joanne runs the numbers, runs the assessments in the system. She'll double check exemptions, credits.
Oh, yes.
Those kinds of things. And then the second page of that shows you the commitment breakdown. So
Oh, yeah.
it gives you land value, current use, non-utility improvement value, and then it brings it all the way down to, you'll see the total property tax, the veterans credits get deducted off of that, and it gives you the total commitment amount, and then they minus the first bill, and then that's why it gives you a different commitment amount at the end, so. And then we would need a vote on this, and then I have 3 copies that we sign usually.
Would somebody like to make that motion?
I'm happy to make the motion. How do you want
I
to
can-
reference it?
Do you have it up? I'll just make it. So I would make a motion to approve the tax collector's property tax levy in the amount of $7,122,000, $122,508.11.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And you guys have it.
Sorry, I'm done.
All right. Let's see, where am I? Supplemental warrant review and approval.
And I'll let Joanne explain this one.
So-
5C.
Yeah, we have a property, Newfound Meadows here in town, that has opted to fill out a PA 65, which is there's either to do the regular tax assessment based on value of property or 10% based on rental income. And it's a 10-year contract, and they renewed their contract in 2021. So they are under the rental income supplemental tax program until 2031, where they provide us their financials and so forth, and we do a bunch of calculations in a system, and we send them the 10% of that. So what you have before you, I think it's 18,535, which is the second portion of this tax year's bill. They are the only property we have participating in this particular program.
So is this what's best for Bristol?
Well, we have to do it, it's statute. So if anybody elects to do it and they qualify,
And they
then we have to do it.
Okay, if they
It's
qualify,
something
you've obviously
the
ensured they qualify, so.
Yeah.
All right, so
The
somebody,
thing with this, we only have the one property. They get a substantial break, obviously, and it's an alternate assessment calculation, and we have to do it as a supplemental tax warrant, so you do have to approve it.
somebody want to move that? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the tax collector's property tax supplement warrant for the property
Newfound Meadows.
located at 40 High Street, Newfound Meadows Housing Association. Second, have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and we have one more addendum here.
Under 5D, I can tell you why we did this, and I have Joanne explain it. We were realizing our utility appraiser's contract was off from our regular appraising contract for reval. So I asked Joanne to go back to Brian Fogg, who's our utility appraiser, and to amend his contract instead of being a one-year contract to match the reval and to let, so we knew what the reval price would be at the end. So I'll let Joanne explain.
So I reached out to him, since I came on board, our contracts were ending at different times, and so we got onto a 5-year schedule for our general assessing and our full measure and list per the reval, which is Comerford, Nieder, and Perkins. In conversation with Christina, she wanted us to see if we could mirror the utility appraisal contract the same. So I reached out to, there's only a couple utility appraisers, and I reached out to Brian Fogg. We did go out to RFP.
A few years, it was probably 5
It
or
was
6.
a while ago. yeah, for utility. But we were under a one-year contract with Brian, which was for 2025. He sent a new contract in for 2026 through 2028. I asked him if he could mirror the 5-year contract. He's not quite sure about his tenure or how long he's gonna stay in the business, because he's getting up in age. I don't know what that means, because I don't know how old he is. But he felt comfortable enough to do a contract between 2026 and 2029, which obviously leaves us some exposure. And in conversation with Christina, we felt we could go out next year to RFP and see if there's any new takers in that field.
So our recommendation, if we have ways to get out of this contract.
Yeah.
So our recommendation was to sign it for the next 4 years. It's not to exceed number, or
Yeah, it's not to exceed 3,000 per
3,000.
year.
to do the utilities each year through the first 4 years. So, but even if next year we go out to RFP and we find a better solution to get us through the 5th year, which is the reval year, then we could get out of this contract and go with the new provider. And he understands that that's what we're considering. We're limited to who we can get for utility appraisers. If we use CMP, which is our current appraisal firm, they do it by, they don't actually, they use a Hardy Whitman book, it's called, to do the values. So they're not really utility appraisers, they're not the professionals who know what these values are. George Sansucci's firm is the firm that we've worked with for years, but actually probably shouldn't say that out loud. So we decided to move from George Sansucci's firm to Brian Fogg. Brian Fogg used to work for George Sansucci and went out on his own. And we had a better rate with Brian Fogg, so.
So just a couple quick questions, I guess. In here, the payment for a single year contract in 2025 is $20,500, so it's $20,000.
That was for the reval, yeah.
That was for the
this-
reval,
yeah.
okay. And the payment terms are net 15. So
Yeah.
pay the bill within 15 days. Is that really common?
We do normally with it anyway, but usually people are net 30.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of
I've
the day,
not
I think-
fielded any calls from anybody or I will tell you, the turnaround time is pretty quick from my perspective on processing invoices and,
It's the end of the year that causes more problems.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess just generically, just having net 15, that's generally pretty aggressive. Now, again, we have a relationship with them, like, whatever, so
Yeah.
it becomes.
Well, if we're going out to RFP next year as well, I
Yeah,
mean,
the only other point might be to check with Eversource themselves and say, okay, for the utility.
they're gonna not want you to hire a utility appraiser. We've already experienced that with them. They're valuing,
Really?
yeah. We've experienced that with a few utility companies do not want you to hire a utility appraiser because they're going to dispute that. We've been in court many years with
I'm not your
Eversource.
friend.
Well, no question about it, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. But
That's just my opinion, out loud.
I was just saying, if we need other, because it sounded like we need to try to figure out other contacts.
So
Right,
there
so-
is,
I would
the
agree.
problem we have is because we run into is there are utility appraisers that are working with some of those utilities, so it becomes a conflict of interest. So if they put in a bid, in the past years, they only can put them in for a certain number. Like, for instance, KTC Hydro was one of them, they couldn't put in a bid because they were
Okay.
working for them.
The whole point is just to try to get it to.
right.
So that you actually have bids.
All right, so we need to approve this.
Yes,
All right.
That's not a mistake, by the way, that they go around and hire all those appraisers.
yes, because
So
they
lock
bring
No, not a
conflicts of
mistake at all.
interest.
Yeah.
So you
anyone
can approve
this-
it.
All right, so I'd like to move that we authorize the contract for Brian D. Fogg LLC, appraiser and evaluation consultant.
A second.
Okay, motion by John, second by Sean. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
So I had to throw one in under 5F, and the short-term rentals is going to become a longer discussion.
Yeah.
Can we do 5F? I was gonna do it under the TA report, but since Joanne's here, we've got this late this afternoon. It was the preliminary results of the 2025 equalization ratio, which of course we should be close as possible, 100%. In your folder?
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, Mandy gave this to, Mandy's our assessor. Mandy gave this to Joanne. There's a memo in there that tells you, this is a preliminary equalization study that has been completed. We usually have to turn them in December. And, Joanne, I don't know if you have anything.
No, I mean, obviously, the numbers speak for themselves.
We are 99.9 currently.
Yeah.
So, that number can change. This is just the permission to submit this.
Yep.
And you have to sign you have to approve and sign a data certificate, which is page 2. And then,
It's uploaded.
Joanne will upload it, submit the whole report that goes, and then the DRA does their thing, and then they come back to us and tell us, this is what we found your ratio. We can either dispute it or agree with it, and then it becomes final.
How does this number get used? The
So
ratio.
the median assessment ratio is what is the general ratio for where your assessment should fall.
To market.
There are multiple ratios. There's a ratio for your, that's, look at the report now. There's a weighted mean ratio. There's a median ratio.
Yeah.
There's a mean ratio. There's a coefficient of disbursement, but, so each one is used for different purposes, but the one we go by is the median ratio, which is where assessment should be. So they're saying our assessments currently are 99.9, and we should be as close as possible to 100%, which is market value.
And we
Okay.
were at 50.8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we were down in the 50s last year. Yeah.
Okay, and so DRA, I'm just trying to figure out, like, if DRA says, no, we disagree, blah, 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 like, that's why I was asking, like, how does it get used?
Oh, so DRA will review this and trim out some things that they think are wrong. So if we marked a sale, and we said it was a valid sale, they may go in and say we didn't believe it was a valid sale. If we marked
Okay.
something that we said wasn't a valid sale, they may come back in and say it is a valid sale and throw it back in.
So historically, and it says it right on the page there, historically, basically the state has said if you're under 0.9 or over 1.1, you need to start thinking about doing something to get it back into alignment.
Right.
The last several years, the state has said, they basically threw their hand up on that and said, we don't know what to tell you. Because everything went crazy. So they were saying, hold pat, but effectively, so you can use,
Okay. That makes more sense.
for the average person, they don't know, they don't understand the equalization rate, I couldn't even tell you the whole, but basically it's a way of saying, okay, your valuation is under market valuation by 0.45 or whatever,
Yeah.
the difference.
You don't get approval on this, do you?
Yeah, you have to vote to sign the municipal assessment data certificate.
All right, make a motion to approve and send what she just said.
Municipal assessment data certificate.
Yeah, I'll second.
Sean, second by John. Going back to last names again. To approve the 2025 municipal assessment data certificate. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Would anybody be opposed to taking a 5-minute break?
Yeah, just.
Yeah, you're gonna need it for the next discussion.
That's what I was afraid of.
There you go, so that one's off, the rest of
Thank you.
them. Try not the rest of them. I need to
You guys sign it.
Okay. Well, I need to sign it.
Yeah.
You deal with
Okay.
I'll leave that there for him.
Oh, Rob didn't sign this one.
No, he didn't sign
Rob didn't
any
sign
of them.
that one.
No. he-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rob didn't sign.
No, that means Rob didn't do any of them. Hold on.
He's-
Rob did one of them.
No,
Need a pack back.
Nope, he didn't do any of them. Here,
Yeah, do the pack.
thank
That
you.
means he needs this too.
Nope, that
No, he
one.
doesn't need that one? You sure?
I thought I saw his name.
Or did he hit his?
Yeah, he's all set.
All right.
yeah, no, he passed it right over and went to you.
Okay.
Did I take Advil?
There's a whole something for him. Thanks in there.
Yeah.
My nose is so dry.
Are we still on?
Yeah, we're taking our 5-minute break while we're live.
All right.
So
Is it
you
live or is it Memorex?
Don't pick your nose. I bought these straps. So, now, because I caught myself doing this. So it's hooks from this side to the other. It's a pain to hook. I
Okay.
never touch my strap now. It's always there.
That's good.
After I saw me do that in public, I was like, there's one on the other side. If you go on the other side,
Oh, yeah, there you go. I know.
yeah,
Just,
What?
he's
about-
pacing to use the bathroom. I said,
why is that bathroom Short-term rental stuff.
So you'll want to start with my computer first. Start with 5E-1, it's the attorney response to the packet of short-term rentals that we sent. Probably should read through that if you can.
So,
Hold on. Sean, Scott, you guys,
Yeah, I'm done.
are we only done on proceed?
Joanne, Donna, and I also had a verbal conversation with the attorney. And he is strongly recommended that we do, which is where we talked about in the past, that we consider business licensing, or commercial licensing, whatever we want to call it. And across the board. Now, one of my question to him was, can you set different levels or categories? Because when I talked about doing it, when I was in assessing and land use, we talked about no charge, and part of why we wanted to do it was be proactive, so that the first time you meet land use or assessing isn't when we say, you're doing something wrong. We want to say, this is what you need to do, but we never did, weren't able to get the licensing pulled off yet. So but he said you could do different categories, you could charge different fees, but you would have to do, you can't just focus on one, you gotta go do a more broader approach is what he said. That's what he told us verbally,
all right, I guess the only real concern I have with his response when I went through it was more like, I don't know that we're trying to do this to limit them per se, because we have a vacation-based economy. So, because he sort of says that in both cases where it's like we're really trying to figure out how to limit. I'm looking at it as an economic opportunity from a revenue perspective. So having a business license to me makes perfect sense. That makes sense. I'm like, okay, awesome. We just go through that process.
Yeah, but then you've got to require Ma and Pa Smith that want to open a 5 and Dime downtown to have a business license too.
But if we do.
And he's saying home occupations too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we can have a different fee schedule for Ma and Pa,
I disagree with him. I mean, this we're talking about residential areas. We're not talking about commercial occupancies.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a fight that I'm willing to take up.
Do you want me to have him come to the January meeting to talk to you about it? Because they're gonna be the ones that have to defend us.
Right.
And if we do something that's opposite of what they're saying, how did that affect their defense of us? And maybe if hearing, we've talked to him,
Right.
but maybe hearing more, he might be able to give us more.
So is he
context.
saying don't charge fees and don't?
No.
No, he's
that's not
not
what he's saying.
necessarily saying that. He's saying I would feel better equipped with him coming to the board because it kind of derailed my whole way of thinking. Because we have been so focused on this, but he's basically saying if the town wants to, the town should look at business licensing, and short-term rentals will be one of those that
Yep.
gets licensed. And there could be different fee structures, and I thought I brought it in. You'd think I have it with all
So
this
how does the
paperwork I brought
town
in.
discourage corporations from coming up in and buying up affordable housing? So that's like, I'm not gonna sit here as a town and be steamrolled by Airbnb, Vacasa, whatever
Right.
those are, that are these corporations that are coming in and buying places to rent for profit.
Mhm.
But you
But, yeah.
licensing him isn't gonna stop that.
It's not gonna stop it,
Because
but
they
it might
can
be able to
afford that.
discourage it and then create revenue, draw revenue from it.
Right.
But the thing is first of all, like, when you look at Airbnb and the others, all they really are is a platform to enable a behavior, right? So like, you have an asset, you use their platform.
Right,
to-
then they're
right?
managing that, but, all right, so for example, there are companies out there looking to buy properties
Yep,
for the sake of renting them
yep,
as short-term rentals.
yes, and you're absolutely right, so then there's a whole scenario around how do we look at housing in Bristol? Right now, as it relates to short-term rentals, I'm looking at it as more of a, how do we understand our business landscape? How do we make sure that we are well attached to that, so then that way it's proportional when you start to look at our overall budget, right? So like, that's why that part's important. I agree with you, because if you look at the behaviors of the short-term rentals, it has definitely helped increase our valuations because of some of those activities, right? Like there's, the way that they'll buy a home. The harder part, I think, is, we can't stop, if somebody's willing to pay something, we can't stop a transaction because we may not like that it's a corporation that's trying to buy the thing.
But when it's affecting the quality of life of the town's citizens, that's a different story.
And on services.
And the demand on services.
Yeah,
Like we've got one on our road now. I see out-of-state plates, different cars with out-of-state plates, every goddamn weekend flying up and down my road.
I think, as much as I hate this, but I think it would be worth to have him in.
Yeah.
Because I would like to have a back and forth for 20 minutes on.
Whatever we can do to make their life difficult.
Because even, I don't know, did you get all the attachments with his comments?
no, you're all good.
Yeah, I mean,
There's all under 5E, there's a
yeah,
whole
like
bunch.
everything that we had created to potentially, he had comments about.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is we
Good,
weren't,
good too.
we weren't the first ones wading into the pool, right? Like, one of the things that you may want to ask him, so one piece of advice might be, if he can get a hold of the town attorney at Sunapee, I don't know, like one of the other ones that has it, and then, get the experience of that community from that perspective. And maybe he knows them, or maybe he's representing them.
I think Sunapee was when he told us got sued.
There's 4
Sunapee
or
got
5.
sued, I
And
thought
they
Meredith
lost.
was too.
Gilbert.
Yeah,
said it was-
actually, he said Sunapee and Meredith both in our verbal conversation, now that I'm thinking, but Sunapee lost, so I don't know what they had to change.
Right.
But from what I remember of the verbal.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think this is us, or at least from my perspective, this is us trying to look at this part of our economy as a town and go, okay, how do we understand it? How do we know how to plan services for it? how do we look at the budget? Because you look at our budget, there's roughly $1.2 million in our budget that goes up in the summertime because of tourism, right? With increased sanitation, with the things like the fireworks, you start to like total that stuff up.
Demand on services, police, fire.
Right, so those are all great things for us as a community, it helps the business environment, but the whole point of this, and that's where some of the argument back goes, is, okay, how are we supposed to be able to plan for that? So, anyway, there you go.
Well, and then you get the intangibles of it, of, do you want this, do you want your neighbors, do you want neighbors, or do you want a revolving door on each side of your property?
Right.
And I don't.
Yeah, I don't, but I don't know how as a government entity, we can say, this person owns it or that person. If you sold your house, you wanna be able to sell it for whatever you wanna be able to sell it for.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
But it's all in whether or not the use of that house is regulated or not.
but.
So
but
I'm
like-
not for regulating people's properties, but I'm all for, you know, controlling, being able to put our foot down when it comes to the quality of life of the people that live here year round.
Yeah, so completely agree with that statement. So now, that means short-term rentals, when you look at the zoning, we don't allow it across the town. There's one zone that doesn't allow it.
Industrial.
I think, I don't know, maybe that's, there's one zone in
It's
town that
happening
doesn't.
everywhere, whether.
Right.
But again, like, if Rob lived in a zone that the next door became a short-term rental and it wasn't zoned for that, that's the mechanism by which we go, okay, it's not allowed, right?
They can still apply for,
Right?
so it's not allowed, they could go through step and still get approved though.
Yeah, they have to go through that process, right?
Right.
So I think if we wanted to, there are two different conversations. The one is, if we intend to have less exposure to short-term rentals across the community, then we need to go to the planning board, and the planning board needs to do its thing around editing the maps to go, okay, here's how we will not allow this in other zones. Then there's the conversation around how do we license them, in this case, and so we know where they are, and we say, yeah, you're in an approved zone. So to the point that Christina made a few minutes ago, there's somebody that's bringing, because it is a business. It also allows us to say, you can't have 15 people in that house. The house is a 3-bedroom septic. You know, it's reasonable as probably 8 people, right? And it allows us to set that. So like when he says we can't do all those things, like those are the questions that I have around, well, you know, we have many examples where they're sort of breaking us.
So we need to figure out a way where we can limit these short-term rentals to, that's so that they're not bothering the rest of us.
So then that process, I think, is, we need to probably ask the planning board to go look at where those things are in zones.
So right now, short-term rentals are not allowed in village commercial, oops, following line, sorry, they're not allowed in village commercial and they're not allowed in industrial. They are required to get a special exception in village residential and downtown commercial, but they are allowed in corridor, rural, and lake. Special exception is much easier to get than a variance.
Yeah, so then we just need to ask the planning board to go take a look at that and
We can have a conversation first with Sean with some of these questions.
anyways, that's what I'm saying. I think there's two different things, right? There's the licensure of the thing, so we understand it, we can make sure they're safe, and fundamentally, we can do things like have a process that we understand the status of septic systems, so we protect the thing that everybody wants to come here for, which is the lake.
You can do that under health. He did say that, we could still
So
do that.
$5,000?
But the one, Joanne did do a little bit more research using AI.
Yeah, I didn't bring it in though.
That's all good.
And one of the things we talked about earlier today was that, and that came up on one of the subjects under the TA report, is that you should charge a reasonable fee and have a base off of,
Cost administrative.
yeah.
Cost.
That's
So,
why I looked at tried to guess how much is brought into the budget. So again, like, you know, you look at it, it's not like proportionally we're gonna go get an extra $1 million out of this, we're not. It's gonna be more in the neighborhood of $15,000 to $20,000.
$5,000.
Done,
Sold.
That's what I want to hear, Joanne.
huh?
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah. I also think there is an opportunity, I mean, we're obviously, this conversation's about short-term, but business licenses too. I think that's a whole other conversation, but,
And we were, and when we were, like I said, when we were thinking about it for, it's just been, it's more on a proactive basis. Does it need, you know, I even asked Sean, do we even have to set a fee for some of them, and no, but you should
You
try
know
to
where
know
a
what
good place
businesses
for
you
short-term
have.
rentals is Bridgewater. Perfect place. And then they can come all here and spend their money.
mhm.
Because the reality is, they're all gonna still come. It's whether or not they're, you know, how much it disrupts other people's daily lives in this town. So if we could limit that somehow, that'd be great.
I didn't know you got a tax bill in Bridgewater.
Oh, now I got it. Oh, that was funny.
From Uncle Terry.
And by the way, it did go up.
Yeah, I put it in your folders under TA. And,
But,
I
yeah,
saw the actual tax bill.
I was gonna do under selectmen items, but since Joanne is here, did you pass along the issue with the quote-unquote nonprofit on Bristol
Yes.
Hill Road?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
I do wanna follow up on
Yes.
that.
yeah.
Yeah, have we heard anything on that?
I took that, then some of that out of the minutes because
Yeah,
it was a little too much, and I didn't, not knowing, until we know more about it, I didn't think that should be there.
that's
so.
fine, that's fine, yeah. I drove by the other day and I was thinking about it again, so.
mhm.
So yes, we start reviewing so we request information from them, they have to submit April 15th and June 1st, depending on what they
So
have to
according to
submit.
the state website, they're not in good standing.
Right.
Yeah,
And something else that came up too, is that that location also has a garage that,
looks like it may be,
is, according to their listing, you can't use it,
Right, so what is?
so it should be,
Right,
yeah.
should be taxable.
so it should be taxed.
so, but I
If you need me to
guess,
drive them down the tax bill, I'll be happy to.
They got substantial tax bills on those 3 lots in the past.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
well,
So maybe one of the, because I was gonna do this also, and from a select board perspective. Last night, I actually asked everybody about the master plan. And one of my questions, and this goes also to the rest of the board, like, I asked if the HDC was working on a section for the master plan. And they said no, so I asked them to maybe ask them, so I don't know if the board wants to ask as well.
HDC has a section.
Well, no, I know, but were they working on updates? Because, you know, when I think about what they were working on last night, for sign ordinance, for murals, for like updating zoning, like all of the things that they were working on, of all of the committees that work on stuff for the master plan, HDC has a set boundary. And they're trying to figure out how to protect history,
mhm,
which means it's already happened.
right,
So it should be easier to do an inventory versus, say, conservation, who's going, okay, I'm trying to think through what somebody wants to do in the future, right?
Mhm.
Or even planning around what they're trying to do from a zoning perspective. I don't know, I just felt like I was giving them a little bit of a push last night to go, I think you guys should ask them, because that could really be helpful.
mhm,
It could help them in how they're looking at it. And, you know, because the section they have in there isn't very, like, it talks about why the history of Bristol's important,
mhm.
but it doesn't lay out what within the district they're looking to truly protect.
Mhm.
And I think that would help the select board.
We can bring that up, they meet again in January 13th,
Yeah.
but, I mean, and that, Rob knows, that board is dwindling,
Yeah.
so, here's a plug, if anybody wants to serve on HGC,
Does it need to exist?
Yes,
I'm sorry. Well, you know.
it doesn't, well, 2 reasons, because we have a historic district, so you have to have a commission. Second reason is we qualify under certified local government,
Okay.
and because we were certified local government, you have to have a commission.
I mean, listen, we've had some very passionate people, so if it's
Yeah.
dwindling, that's why I asked the question, but if there's interest, then awesome. And, you know, it's not about making
We're-
it disappear, it's just,
Yeah.
anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, we definitely need, I mean, as of right now, it's a select board rep and two members. So
I mean, Dorcas does a great, Dorcas does
Oh, yeah,
does a great
yeah,
job.
both do a great job with it,
Yeah.
but they need help.
Mhm.
Tay.
That's it.
So
Oh,
basically, I think where we're at on this is
Short
bringing
term.
the answer.
Bring the lawyer in.
Yeah, we can have a general conversation with him first, see if we can get better answers, and then if we still feel that he will have a schedule when they come in.
I think you schedule them to come in regardless, but you guys should prep them more, but I think having, you know, as Sean said, I think it would be a much more fruitful conversation,
I would agree.
because we'll do this for weeks.
Mhm.
I may have him on Zoom, if I have a laptop. I may have him on Zoom, instead of making him drive here, because we'll pay mileage.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But, if he attends on Zoom,
If he can tell us how to prevent getting overrun by short-term rentals,
he might be able to give
we'll
us
pay
some
for
guidance.
it.
Yeah, what would be legal, right? Okay. I think that's it for you.
Is that it for me?
I think so.
Anything else for me, from anybody?
No, just reiterate, you said thank you to us, but really you guys did the lion's share of
Yeah, exactly.
that and our assessor, and, you know, you guys were the spear catchers, and, you know, it's just, you did such a great job with it.
Thank you.
And yes, we have you back, but you did a great job with everything, and our appreciation to everybody in the office, because I
Pass that
know
along.
it was a big lift.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know she gets paid to do it too, but our assessor, you know.
She's
good
great.
work.
Yeah,
Very good. He's awesome.
she's so good, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Are you getting many abatement requests then?
Well, they can't until they get their bill.
Yeah,
So they can't submit an abatement until after they get their
After
bill
the- yeah.
up
Not
to
yet.
March 1st, so.
There
you
are,
know, and I,
people are already talking about it online, but they've.
Yeah.
It's-
I mean,
It-
they've
it's-
got it approved.
I know, and the only reason I'm saying this is because I think people do not understand the abatement process.
yeah.
You can't,
You still have to pay
just
the bill.
because you don't like your tax bill, or you feel your tax bill's too high, you can apply for an abatement, but you have to justify why you feel it's too high.
Right.
Or if your assessment is not comparable in other areas, you have to come up with those things, and that sometimes makes people upset when they get,
Yeah, so basically, you just have a
Response
recent
back.
appraisal to be like, hey, my house appraised at 100,000 less than your assessment.
right, because especially because we're at 99.9 technically.
Yeah.
So if your recent appraisal comes in and says that,
I mean,
that's a
it-
good support.
It has been very educational for me as well, obviously, in this role. You know, we've heard from people on the lake in multi-million-dollar homes. They can yell just as loud as the people that are in a $38,000 home that has just been reassessed for 58. But it's interesting to see when you can show them what has happened in the market. To
I
say,
think when
you know,
people
hey,
realize that their tax bills aren't going through the roof.
Right.
that
I think that's,
That'll
you know,
settle some people down.
yeah. You know, I mean, in a perfect world, you know, it'd be great if you could get the tax rate at the same time, you know?
Well, the
you know,
other,
But,
the other part of it, people act as if, every 5 years we have to remind people.
Right.
This is how you pay for everything. And
Well-
so unless you're willing to, and, you know, unless you're willing to change the entire structure,
Yep.
which may be the answer, but if,
right,
you know,
But-
property is how things get paid for, and this is not we're not reinventing
right.
the
And
wheel.
that's Mandy's point too.
Right.
Like,
It's
this
gotta
isn't
be
new.
any changes.
Right. And the other thing I'd like to remind people of is, it's not as if we can spend any more money than you've allowed us to spend.
Right.
So something has to happen, right? So it's not
Yeah.
like, yeah, your assessment doubled, people think, well, all of a sudden my taxes double, but how could that happen when
Right.
we're not allowed to spend more than you've authorized us
Already.
to?
Yeah.
us to
Yeah,
spend?
Sean, honestly, it's a great point, because I know I've said this to a few folks. It's really about the service levels.
Yeah.
The service levels actually govern it all. It's like, you go back to the fire department, really, right? $2 million of our budget is the fire department. I've really not met a single person that said, oh my God, that's so not worth it.
Mhm.
And I pick on the fire department because it's, it becomes so personal to so many folks when that's the person that comes and takes them out of a situation that's probably one of their worst days, you know? So,
The other thing I will say often is, okay, you don't like the police department, we'll get rid of the entire police department and your rate will drop $1.40,
correct.
or whatever, $1.50.
Yep.
Okay.
It'll
And then it goes up, next year.
be good when we go to town meeting this year. I'm actually kind of looking forward to kind of going through that. I really am. Like, I know Joanne's like, you really look at that. I am.
I enjoy it. I wear my
All right, I
Bristol
don't,
shirt.
sorry, I didn't mean to keep you
No.
here, but I wanted to praise you, so.
Thank you.
First
Appreciate
form of
it.
democracy there is.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, thanks.
Thanks,
guys.
Joanne.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See
All
ya.
right, Highway Department Beach Street project, so,
Oh, yeah, how do we do that?
Those are under your number 6. So, all of the bids that came in are listed there from number 3 through number 10.
Okay,
There is a tabulation document, handwritten one I wrote, but there's also one under number 1 that shows the list.
so, for anyone watching, this has already been discussed during our work session earlier, and the board has come to a consensus. We've received 8 bids. Those that met the parameters of the bid range between $159,850 to $430,000. And the board earlier discussed awarding the bid to Jeremy Hiltz Excavating for the amount of $166,595.
I'll make a motion to award the bid to Jeremy Hiltz Excavating.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to award the bid to Jeremy Hiltz Excavating for the amount of $166,895. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the ayes have it. And that work is most likely set to commence in the spring, I believe, so.
Very cool.
Yep. All right.
Contingent upon.
And it'll be contingent on, depending on
Or.
what the.
Yes, yes, that will be going on the warrant for town meeting, so, so we will be contingent upon approval of the warrant at town meeting. All right, 2025 encumbrances, talk to me.
Those are, if you go under TA report discussion items, for some reason I threw them under there and didn't even realize I was going to put them on your agenda. Under that is number 3. The Excel document is the list of them. And I've just added, I added the one we were talked about during the work session, which was the ambulance 2 repair. That's the quote, we have the quote, that's coming from the contingency fund, so that's added onto it. I'll start from the top. So the master plan work we've already kind of talked about. We did a purchase order to sign the contract for them, and this is the master plan work from the Conservation Commission. This is the amount that's left in the master plan budget, which is $5,618, and we're taking that to apply to the contract to finish all of the work next year. And we also budgeted an amount, so we can pay for it. Number 2 is the generator. This is a warrant article number 13. We have to encumber it. This is the bid, there's a quote in there for the, you can look at it if you'd like, for, I rounded it to $102,000. Goodwin Enterprises submitted it. It was the best quote. They would do all the wiring. We have to encumber it in order to save the warrant article, or we have to put it up again.
And this is the fire department,
Yes.
public safety building, Jennifer.
Yeah, it's the fire department, public safety, sorry, and it's, so it's 125,000 was the original warrant article, the quote is 102,000. The remaining, and we had 125,000 offsetting, because this will be paid for by grant, through, I believe, FEMA.
Okay.
But we have to encumber the funds or we're gonna completely lose it and have to start over again. Next one down is the electrical work for the compressor. We actually talked about this, we approved the compressor purchase order at the last meeting. Ben and I talked, there's money in the public safety building electric line, so we would like to encumber that money to use to the electrical work for the compressor. That's the 1,165. The container for Naughton, it is out right now being repaired. It will come back almost like a brand new container, and that's his new equipment line. It's $3,100. We've already paid for one out of his budget. If we can encumber that money, they won't be back until January, so that we can pay for the container. So these next two are probably a conversation we should have, and also there's an extra quote in your folders that John just sent me. Now I'm doing it. The next two, phase 3 and phase 4, are part of our remediation plan. Those two numbers with Nesset are, we haven't finalized the full project scope, but we have a quote, and those are in your folders. And one is 22,000, and server migrations are 18,750. My concern with not encumbering that money at least is when we start next year behind the 8 ball on being able to do any of the rest of the remediation projects. But John also has a quote that I put in.
It's basically the replacement of the video unit over here.
It's the quote marked Town of Bristol NHR25P. So that's not in consideration because and this is what we talked about making this room better for anybody online or on Zoom, making it better for recording with Kate even. So this quote includes many things. It doesn't mean we have to do all of these things, but it is $30,000 right now at that total.
Yeah. That's- I think it's more like 22 to do the work that we want to do, because I don't think doing it, because we talked to them about doing an extra TV and stuff over there. I don't think that's what we do.
And then the last one on that list is the ambulance to repair, and that's the $9,987. So if we go forward with this or add anything else, it's $162,620 we would save from the 2025 budget and bring it into next year to pay for these costs. I also put.
Those additional ones aren't on, they don't show up here.
Which one?
The ambulance and the.
Oh, they're not showing on your Excel?
No.
I saved it though. Isn't that weird?
No, so we need an updated total to approve.
I can print it. I guess the question would be, I also put, I put a budget in there in case there was anything you wanted to look at in the budget and question why we weren't trying to save anything. Any encumbrances there, but in case you wanted to look at it, but you don't have
What do
to.
you have for a total?
The total, well, what we have to decide if we're putting John's quote on.
We have that money.
If you look at the 4194-342, it gives you where we're at the top of the page. So if you look at the top, we had a $268,000 budget, we have $126,000. Some of that is the remediation costs, some of that's, we don't have that either. I put them in there.
Is it a different page than all the kind of different Excel?
No, it's this one. Sorry, Sean. 4194,342. It's a PDF. There are some additional costs that still have to come out of that. But it says we have, right now, it says we have 126,000. Well, those phase 3 and phase 4s are technically part of this.
Okay.
Did you find this, Scott?
Yeah, the phase 3 and phase 4, the interesting part is really it's about, we're up for replacing a lot of the IT equipment that we still have. Right, that goes back to the conversation we were having around what's the overall strategy sort of moving forward. The video unit stuff for in here, that goes back to the overall goal of making the remote experience better. So then that way, everybody that uses the room, it becomes a little more consistent. You know, the question becomes is that what we're, you know, is that a goal for everybody?
Well, I think so. If we've raised money for that, we should be doing it.
And then we have on our priority sheet, it was down at the bottom, was to make improvements to the audio visual insert.
So
All right, so
We got the money, we're
I don't think we could do all phase 3 and phase 4 encumbrance. We could have to take, we can take one of those off, which is okay. If we take one of those off, and it would just move to be paid next year, because those aren't gonna even start probably until January.
Yeah.
We're in phase 1 and phase 2, which is SharePoint and OneDrive.
Office 365.
Office 365 and OneDrive setups, moving everybody there, and then
Yep.
printing, thank you, cloud printing.
Yeah.
So we're working on those now. I've paid for those have been paid for. So we could take and just encumber the phase 3. That is for mobile data management.
It is.
So
That would be a good one.
we could encumber the 22,000, take phase 4 off, and then put the sound. But we need to pick a number off the sound.
22.
Because, we can't change the vendor, so we're happy with that vendor.
Oh, yeah, no, from a vendor perspective, I think we're good, but I think it's more like 22, I don't think it's the 30, because I think in the 30, there was extra wires to run, there was a bunch of stuff to put a TV over there, so that way the audience had.
labor, yeah.
So I don't need it for tonight, but I will need an updated quote that actually says.
I know, I get it, I sent them an email a little while ago. I haven't finished squeezing them anyway.
So, do we have a total we can approve?
So you said 22 even? Let me change this and I can tell you and reprint it. Um, 165. I don't know if anybody wants to write me down. I'll print it.
But we need to read each line, right?
So I should print it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to read each,
Yeah.
okay. So it'll be. Where is it? Master plan work, CC,
And the copier
resilience.
in the middle.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna be dark. What's up? I have some really spooky pictures of it down in there. There's a glow that comes out of one of the vents. You want me to go get it?
that your version of breadcrumbs,
I
Sean?
never use it.
Oh, I gotta reprint this, I printed it to the wrong, good thing you couldn't get in. He's gonna kill me. I printed it upstairs.
I'll go get it, I'll go get it for
No, I'll print it. There we go. No, I printed it downstairs, okay. Oh, I thought I forgot to change the printer.
Okay, I'll make a motion to move the following encumbrances in the 2025 budget. Account 0141911730 in the amount of $5,618. Account 0149027730 in the amount of $102,000. Account 4200-410 in the amount of $1,165. Account 4324-810 in the amount of $3,100. Account 4194-342 in the amount of $22,000. Account 4194-342 in the amount of $22,000. And account 4909-890 in the amount of $9,987.40.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion by Sean, second by John, to approve the 2025.
Yeah, for a total of $165,870.40.
Which one is it? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And looking at pictures of people's socks.
At least that's all. At least that's all that's there.
There's websites in there.
So, in your info folders, there are a variety of pictures from some of our holiday events. That's how they reported that they participated.
I will tell you, I got to go around and be the judge. They did it, it was interesting. At sewer, right, going into the lab, there was a naughty and nice list on the bottom of the board. And on the nice list was the water department, on the naughty list was highway. The two winners were the police department and the department was land use. And land use, they did a great job on that door. You know, they had almost like a family picture on it and set it up like a, right? And set it up like a little fireplace. The police department had a lot of letters from kids to Santa. You know, and among the decorations and stuff like that. It was cool. Anyways.
Yeah, so I thought you'd appreciate seeing some of those pictures.
Under discussion items, there's a picture of a blue spruce.
Yeah, okay, so,
Just so you know, that's a tree.
Thanks, I didn't recognize it. It's actually, I know it was Frank.
okay. So moving on to discussion items, I'll start with the blue spruce if you want, because I don't think I made it on the list. So there is a picture of a blue spruce. I received a text today asking if the town would be interested in the blue spruce. They, where it's located in front of that building,
It has to be removed.
it has, they are removing it, yes, but, and they hated to see it just get cut down. Let me get to the text.
Wow.
He said, does the town want another tree donated? I have this beautiful blue spruce that we are going to dig up this spring. I just don't want to cut it down. It's absolutely gorgeous. He said it's too big where it is now. The camper planted it years ago, claiming it would not grow this big. And he said he would just need a little bit of help from the town crew to remove it from here, if that works. So I said I'd bring it to you and let you ask if you, it is a beautiful tree. but I asked if you had, any thoughts for it.
You have to hire a clamshell, right, to go in and dig it
I was
out.
gonna say-
Yeah, and it's close to the building, and there's a gas line right there. I don't think the town wants any.
And then where do you put it?
Right.
Yep.
Part of
Right.
it.
Okay.
Greatly appreciate,
It was very much appreciated that they
Yeah.
thought of us, so.
make somebody a nice Christmas tree.
I know.
Mm,
Tell them to wait and cut it down later and we can put it up somewhere for a Christmas tree.
there you go.
Number one, I think they're all in there now, but, we've gotten about, I said 8, we just received a new one, we have 9 applicants so far. I responded to all of the applicants for the HR welfare position, and let them know we would not be doing interviews until January. I just don't think it's gonna happen before the end of the year. And I asked, do any of the board members wish to serve on the interview committee?
For HR?
Listen, I'm happy to do it.
I know, I'll do it, I
Right.
just wanted to make sure everybody else is ready.
Yeah. You could-
It's time.
I think the interview in HR is perfect for you.
You don't wanna talk to my HR department. We didn't even have one till like a year ago, so she loved me.
I was gonna say, did they have it? Because
We literally didn't.
a lot of companies didn't. Alright, so Rob, I'm not gonna probably schedule it until after the first week at minimum
Yeah.
of January, so. I just
Yeah,
wanna-
the only thing I would ask is that, most days I would have to be out of here by 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I, where.
With the exception, Thursday would be a good day to do it, actually, for me.
We would redo a preliminary review, first. We may not interview all 9 candidates so far, or if we get more, we usually, interview a first batch and then go from there, so. Number 2, there are items, did I bring that? I think it's on the printer upstairs. There are items in your folders, under number 2. We've been awarded a grant, and Jeff wanted you to know he applied for the grant using AI. It's a public water system lead service line inventory grant. So we have to do this anyway, so this is something we have to do. It's been, it's part of that lead line service. We talked about it in the past couple of years. We found out that we have 990 unknown service lines in Bristol. So we actually have to go out and find out what they are. Because if there is a lead line there, there's a whole other step that has to be taken care of. So, when Jeff applied for this, we knew we were gonna have to do it, and it's perfect because we were awarded a $60,000 grant. The cost estimate was $106,000, which includes records review, visual inspection, potholing, excavation equipment, either purchase or lease, data entry, quality control, and reporting.
Nice.
If the board agrees to accept the grant, I need a motion to accept the grant and approve the TA to sign.
How much was the grant for?
60,000. So even though the cost estimate we submitted was 106, this 60,000 we're already gonna have to do the work, so.
Right.
I don't see the figure on
And we have 2 years. What?
is this under
It's under discussion items,
TA2?
TA2, yeah.
I just don't see the figure on
So
the.
which number do we have to, we just have to accept the 60 or we gotta approve the 102?
If you look at the grant agreement, the grant agreement says,
Yeah, grant
a
limitation.
grant limitation
60,000.
is 60.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But if you wanted to see what Jeff had submitted for, that is, I have to look at the pictures.
A second.
It is the Town of Bristol Large Public Water System lead service, it's that one.
I'll make a motion to approve, or to accept the grant from New Hampshire DES in the amount of $60,000
for general provisions, and authorize the town administrator to sign off.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Scott, second by John to accept the grant as talked about. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
Skipping TA3, under TA4, I'm gonna put the notes up. I've met with the moorings division.
What?
Moorings division, is that what they're called? The Department of Safety.
Oh, okay.
Who do you think I meant?
I don't know, it just sounded like we had a much larger
Yeah, not us,
bureaucracy in Bristol than,
not us, but, so, it's, at one point, I believe Bristol had to apply, so these are down by Avery Kraus, that this has come up. There are 4 groups that apply for moorings, and there are 21 moorings. But because Bristol owns the property, the moorings division is now saying we have to apply every year to renew these, which means we have to gather all of the applications from these groups and submit them all at once. We get issued the licenses for the moorings, and then we have to issue them to the groups. Don't know who's gonna do this yet, because we don't know how extensive this will be, but
So we can get rid of all the moorings in front of.
we can't. They said if somebody so I've learned a couple of things.
So is it
We
town
can
owned
charge a
mooring?
fee,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly where I'm going.
so we can charge a fee, but the fee, he said, would have to be, it's up to the town to collect, it says, and we have to collect registrations and their payment to the state, and then the decals that we'll get. We can charge a fee. But it has to be based off of, for instance, expenses that we have to put into, so we have to pay to put the mooring lights put in and brought back out every year. So we could base it off of that. We can base it off of administrative. So
Right.
if we took those numbers, we divide it by 21 moorings, they would each have to pay that fee to the town.
Because the town is the landowner, we own the process for getting the moorings. But the moorings don't really belong to us.
No.
They belong to these folks. If the town said, we don't want to go do that process, now what happens?
I don't think we have a choice in doing that process.
Yeah,
We have
per
court
RSA
orders
now.
for some of those moorings are court ordered. So,
because of previous arrangements and settlements.
Interesting, okay.
not all, I don't know if all of them
10,000.
are, but some of those moorings are court ordered. We have a mooring and a dock down there
So
that's
we,
court ordered.
right, so like anybody else, right, you can't rent the mooring.
No, that's exactly what I'm going. Like, in my head, I'm
We
going.
can't just put an exorbitant number out there.
Well, no, I'm not.
It has to be related to.
I'm just gonna
fees.
start putting my boat on one of those moorings.
Well, and I asked
I'm
him
not
how-
suggesting that we do it that way, although, I mean, that's not a bad idea, but.
I did ask him how, 2 things I asked him. I said, I'm under the impression you can't rent out your mooring, and I know there are people that are renting them out. If we find out they are, their decals can be pulled. I don't know how that affects the court order, but you can pull their decals, so.
So, if these moorings are in the town of Bristol's name,
There you go.
and one of those moorings breaks,
Yep.
and a boat goes down over the
Hey.
hydro dam, who's responsible?
That's a good question. I think the moorings are still issued, so Town of Bristol files the application, but they're individual
In individual
decals
names.
that are still issued to these people for the moorings.
But we're hold on, but we're still responsible for gathering the, your insurance and your registration information and all that other
There's
jazz.
gotta be an
Yeah.
administrative fee.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure, I mean, they said that we could charge one.
well, no, they pay the state too. So they pay the state a fee, so we have to collect that fee. for the state, and then whatever fee we're going to be paid, we could charge, we have to pay it, collect
So
it.
how do we, all right, so, okay, I'm sorry.
So, I talked to them,
How do we set the date when the fee's gotta be paid? Like, in my head, I'm going, some people, because no matter what the fee is, they don't wanna pay it until like 30 seconds where they have to. I don't blame them.
well, so here's the, one thing he said.
If we got
was-
21 that we're responsible for, there's gotta be a reasonable,
One thing that he said was that the town could pay the fee, and then we collect the decals, but we don't release them until we get the fee from the boat, the.
no, but, okay, so now let's play that out for a second. Somebody intended to rent it, they know they're supposed to. Would they know that we're gonna give them grief because they're renting their
Well, the
whatever, right?
I just report to the
But then the town is floating the,
Marine Patrol, and they would probably go out and the boat would be ticketed or whatever. That's what they said, they would enforce it with, if there's no decal put on the mooring, they will go out and, address
Just-
that.
I guess I'm still struggling with the town as the responsible party for 21 moorings.
Yeah, and not making a profit off it. $1,000.
I thought it was 10, oh, I said 10,000.
I can gather and let you know how much.
So I understand you said the state has a fee to put the blinking lights out. And,
No,
It's not the state, we
no,
have to
we
hire
pay.
a contractor.
We have to, it's part of our contract with the.
okay, so we have to pay for
swim
that.
lines.
But then we also need to charge an administrative fee on top of that for collecting and distributing monies and
Right.
stickers and $1,000.
Which if you do 1,000 divided by 21,
No, I think Rob's saying.
No, 21 times 1,000.
yeah, I don't think that's gonna work, Rob.
Well, so, you know, this is where, listen, I know what Rob's doing, but we way underestimate what it takes, okay? So right now, you got the 5 of us having this long conversation. We're gonna have, let's say let's assign it to the town clerk, tax collector's office, right? Because they gotta collect stuff anyways. They're gonna have to, there's a whole process, and then somebody probably in highway is gonna have to arrange to have the dock guy down there. Like, there's gonna be a lot of man hours to go
We
through and
won't,
make sure.
why, we won't.
We don't deal with the dock.
No.
No, we hire it, we contract it,
We
We
don't
would,
co-
but somebody's
we don't
still
deal
gonna,
with the
somebody still has to,
the swim lines and the docks.
We put the
dock
swim
lights.
lines
No.
out and the mooring lights, that's it.
And then the mooring lights are gonna have to come
but the
down.
mooring light's gotta go in and out.
We do that now, so there is a rate for that, and I have that in the contract, and
Okay.
we put the swim lines out. We don't, only thing we do at the dock is measure it and make sure it's so many feet away from the swim line, because that's the agreement. That's it.
I'm just trying to
The
make sure.
sign on the end of that dock where it says "Don't use," feel free to use it as a Bristol resident,
I mean, look,
because the town's dealing with this. So from next time somebody yells at me for dropping somebody off of that dock, gotcha.
the whole point is more of we have to make sure we capture all of the energy that goes into it. Just because,
We have a mooring upstairs still, by the way. No one ever cleaned.
this is convoluted as hell.
It's gotta be at least $100 a mooring fee for us to deal with that.
Yeah, I would say so, at least
$1,000.
10,000.
Okay,
Let's have a
Can you see them past the electrical bill?
All right, it's 8:45, everybody's getting punchy. Keep
Oh,
going,
listen to that one.
Rocket.
all right, TA5, in your folders, there's a PSB interest. We started talking about this a while ago. And so I had review the work that was previously done by the former finance officer. She's included a document in the folder, I think, that says PSB breakdown. She pulled some reports to show her work. When she calculated her number, she was off by about 1,000 from the former.
Are you talking about the PSB interest?
Yeah. So she was off by 1,000 from the former finance officer. She feels that could have been an interest amount, that she might have had a different number than the other finance officer. She recommends the board use the number submitted previously, which is It's not 683. It's I have to go back to the email. It's 68,000, but I'll get you the correct number. Don't look at my 2-year report.
Okay.
Apparently I. Alright, that's fine. So once I give you the right number, I need if you could do a motion, to approve the transfer of that dollar amount from the general fund to the public safety building fund. This will clear up the interest issue that we needed to correct, and I wanted to do it before the end of the year.
68,382.33 cents.
Is that, that's what I was going to find. Yep,
Is that the number?
it's 68,383.33 cents.
From general to the public safety building fund?
Yep,
All right, I'll make a motion to transfer $68,382.33 from the general operating account to the public safety building account.
We have a motion by Legue, second by Miller, to transfer $68,382.33 to the public safety building fund from the general fund. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
we will just confirm with the auditors how we book this transfer, but we will make sure to complete it before the end of the year, and that will clean up this issue.
So,
And I can get you an updated number.
the public safety building fund,
Yeah,
what is going to become of that?
that's gonna be probably once I get you an updated number. It's not enough for what we thought we could use it for. Because we talked about paving, it's not enough for that. I have to have a different discussion with you in non-public.
Okay.
But we have options, so we can use it as long as we're using it towards the public safety building project. Or we can use it towards the bond payment, if that's something we wanna do, but we have to put a warrant article in, so we should, decide if we wanna do that to
So-
close this account, but I need to get you an updated number because one of the accounts was closed, and I've asked the treasurer for an updated number from the TD Bank escrow where this money was moved. So,
Can that be, like, the amount in that fund be used as a partial payment towards a project?
towards the bond?
So let's say hypothetically, there's $75,000 in there, and paving's gonna cost $100. Can we put a warrant article in next year saying, we're gonna,
Yeah,
for $100,000 with X amount to be paid from the public safety building
the
fund?
remaining funds in the public safety building, yes.
And then the remaining funds to be raised by taxation or whatever?
Yep,
Okay.
we can,
You not following me?
No, why can't we just take the remaining 25,000 out of the paving money?
You could, I'm just giving you a hypothetical.
you have to do a warrant article also.
Yeah. So to use that money in that, we're gonna have to, it's gonna have to be a warrant article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we could do that because that money's coming from that fund, it'll close the fund out, and you can use it.
Can we do it this year? Too late.
I think we can because we haven't even voted on warrant articles yet.
Yeah,
We
let's
just
get,
need to get an updated number. We need to make sure the transfer happens before the end of the year, so get that done. And then you have an updated number,
And there's still other monies
when
in
we
that
just have to
account.
get a quote from somebody,
There's still other money in that account too, so it's gonna be higher than, no,
not a lot.
not a lot, but there's some. So that's not the exact figure is what I'm saying.
No, that's not the exact
Yeah.
figure. I think it's probably gonna be closer to 70.
Yeah.
But I need to confirm that.
Okay, well, let's, talk to the two chiefs and see, I include them in it obviously to make sure that's what we should be doing, which I think that's the only thing that makes sense, because we discussed it before. And we'll get a quote on it. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I include them in it obviously to make sure that's what we should be doing, which I think that's the only thing that makes sense, because we discussed it before. And we'll get a quote on it. And,
Mm-hmm.
bingo bango and lay some pavement.
It gets that one big issue taken care of, so, yeah.
Well, alrighty then.
Number 6, the Breeze Line franchise kind of has fallen off of my radar. I've talked to Breeze Line, I asked them if they could extend it till January, end of January, because I figured we could look at it. They actually came back and said, it's the current franchise agreement stays in place. What's his name? He asked me if there was a problem, and I said, no, time just got away from us. And I've asked him some questions about things that I was thinking about, could we do? So I have answers on those.
So I didn't realize, I thought we still had more time. How much, so we're already out?
Yeah. Well, it says, he goes under FCC rules, the current agreement continues in effect until a new agreement is reached. He goes, any particular reason they want to wait? And I said, no, time just got away from us. We just need a little bit longer, so,
Okay, so maybe we can talk about that separately, because
yeah.
I think we need to understand what they're thinking about from an investment in fiber that they're trying to do in town, if anything, right? I mean, there's been a lot of people that still are on their services, and then sort of what are they gonna do for the residents to try to keep them?
I asked him some questions already of, can services be provided to municipal buildings at no charge?
Yeah,
Because we've noticed that the buildings that had it no longer do.
yeah,
He said courtesy accounts have changed since the FCC third order came out in 2019. In that order, FCC declared that any discounted courtesy service that is provided by a cable operator as part of the franchise agreement would allow the cable operator to recoup the marginal costs of those services.
yeah, from the
So-
residents.
Right, no, he's talking about us. So no complimentary services are being offered anymore.
Okay.
And then I asked, is there an estimate on the franchise agreement payments? And he said, franchise fees calculations are dependent on the number of residents subscribing to the cable services. Internet services are not cable services.
Correct.
So there's no franchise fee on those services. Typically, franchise fees have gone down over the last several years, which they have. We've seen that in the checks we're getting from them.
Makes sense.
Due to increased competition and cord cutting, utilizing the array of streaming options available to residents.
Yep.
And then the third question I've asked so far, can local news channels be returned to the area? Because that's one of the biggest problems
It's
for
not,
people.
but that's not a them issue.
And they said, we can only carry services that are considered by Nielsen to be within the
Yeah.
DMA of the station.
Yep. So we have to address that actually
Yeah.
with others that pick up this.
We've talked about taking up that fight before, and that's not just with cable, that's with.
No,
Yep.
Yeah.
so those are all I've asked him so far, but if there's specific questions, can you email them to me?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
the agreement is like, I've got some information from the attorney too, but the agreement is like 50 to 60 pages long.
No, yeah, no, well, and if you remember, I think we had asked the attorney about having somebody that specializes in these agreements.
We did not decide that as a group.
No, but I thought we were trying to get him to help us understand what that was gonna cost us to have somebody that actually specializes in.
He feels actually, I think we had a conference call with him. He feels he is qualified because he negotiates these. And I thought
I'll
we had
go
a
find my
conference
notes.
call.
I'll go find my notes, but
Okay.
I'll send you the questions and I'll find my notes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And then I'll schedule it for a meeting in January.
Yeah.
Holiday luncheon is tomorrow, for any of you who can make it. Just to announce for the public, the non-emergency departments will be closed from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And they'll be we'll be at the public safety building. And then just to announce for the public, the holiday closures, I've posted them online.
I can't believe it's the 19th tomorrow.
I know.
It was like the 12th.
No kidding.
So tomorrow,
I'm like way behind.
we're closed 11 to 1, but this building will be closed from 1 to 2:30. We do an annual swap for the admin staff in this building, so we'll be doing that. December 24th, all non-emergency departments will be closing at noon in observance of the Christmas holiday. December 25th, all non-emergency departments will be closed again for that day. December 26th, this building, the Barbara Greenwood Town Office Building, will be closed for the day and will reopen on Monday, December 29th. And then January 1st, all non-emergency departments will be closed in observance of the New Year's holiday. And that's all, I hope that's all she wrote.
Okay.
I'm a little fuzzy, so.
Select board items, Sean.
Yep.
Scott.
Budget committee met on Tuesday, and the budget committee voted to raise a few of the lines. One being the children's librarian line,
Is that
the FICA and Medicare to go with it, and
cleaning?
cleaning services
I was trying to remember if
went
they
up
changed.
slightly.
Did they change another budget?
I thought there was,
Who else was there? I know I was there, but I mean, who else was there?
I know we're all like, let me look at
So I
that.
think there were a couple,
there were a couple other changes I think.
yeah, nothing too dramatic. I think the biggest change was the
library.
library, that line item.
I can tell you.
Because who else was there? Cemeteries, that was the same.
Yep.
Check. And how much did that go up again? 10,000?
Nine and change. Yeah. Who else was?
That's what I'm going to their agenda.
Library, cemetery.
I was mainly me.
Oh, went through a bunch of the executive stuff.
Oh, town clerk, tax collector, but they didn't change hers. Legal, personnel, general government.
Was there something we lowered? We lowered some for share, didn't we?
Some
There
small-
was a concern that the beaches, we had a project we did to replace the swim lines this year, and
Oh, yeah, Paul
instead
wanted
of
to try to
lowering
lower
it, we
it,
put the
but
signs in,
Yeah.
so, but, I think that, maybe we didn't change anything else, maybe it was just them.
There was a lot of discussion.
I did change, I followed up with them, by the way, and sent
With who?
the budget committee.
Okay.
I guess you got it. You got an email.
I checked it. Which,
There were some questions that came out, one question previously, and then there was a question the Tuesday night. I'm like, I don't have an answer for them right now, but I found out what the percentage was for New Hampshire retirement that comes out of the employee. That's set by statute, we don't control that, so I sent that to them, and then I sent, what else did I send since you have the email in front of you? And updated them.
economic development name change
Oh, yeah.
to economic committees on the budget line.
So it's, the budget section says Economic Development Committee, and does it make sense to say that? So I changed the budget section to say Economic Committees. And then Economic Development, I updated to Economic Opportunity Committee, and then
Flags,
flags, there was money spent, so.
meeting
but I-
memberships, we didn't change those, but we discussed them. I thought there was questions, because some of them increased, but we ended up not changing that, I don't believe.
Maybe I was foggy Tuesday, I was really foggy Tuesday.
There was a big discussion around, since the school was late.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
yes.
There was a big discussion around since the school was late, there was at least one member who wanted to charge the school the interest amount that we're gonna pay for borrowing, and I, as a member of the public, reminded them that I can appreciate the concept, but Christina just got done telling you that we haven't paid them our bill for the last 2 months, which is a little over $1 million, so.
Nor can we legally do that anyway.
Right, right.
And, well, New Hampton's the other one, they owe the 3 months, which is just
Yeah.
over $1 million
Yeah.
too. I did recalculate the school payment, based on the new, and we should drop from right now we have an approximate number, it wasn't a right number. So we've been paying $550 since July, but we should drop to $517 if I calculated it right. So I was gonna reach out to the school, because I don't wanna pay these two bills
Right.
at the $550.
Just pay them at 500. I mean, literally just go, you know what,
I
we know we're
can't
buying.
I can't, I have to pay what the bill says. So I can't adjust the bill. I have to pay what the bill says, so.
Yeah. Well, at least they're not trying to be landlords anymore.
Yes, I did confirm that. I think I shared that too.
Yes, I saw that.
So they did back away from it?
Yep.
Basically, his comment, the superintendent's comment was basically saying that based on the court of public opinion.
We heard you loud and
We
clear.
heard you loud and clear, we're
Yeah.
probably not gonna get the 60% it requires to pass.
So-
John, what do you got?
I'm good. I've caused enough trouble tonight.
Historic District Commission, we met last week. Discussion was mostly centered around the property at the corner in the square, next to what would be Cavis Block, the old pet store. Jeff Goodrum is the owner of the building. He came in and is doing a significant amount of renovations to the property.
I love the sign.
He's got a lot of interest in the property. He said he's got about, I think he said 7 or 8 people interested. In the process of the renovation, he uncovered the old PPD's hardware sign, which is...
Before my time.
Really? Yeah.
In 98, we bought in
Yeah.
town, 95,
Yeah.
I started coming through town.
Yeah. So pretty cool to see that once again.
It's way better than the Grace Electronic sign.
Yeah. Yes. So it's not going to stay there most likely, but he's talking with the commission about possibly putting it up higher, because that block's not actually named like Rollins Block and Cavis Block. So he's trying to come up with a solution to
Highlighted.
highlight it, something like
Preserve it.
that. It's a huge sign.
Yeah.
It's all like carved wooden letters. It's really cool.
Aren't there two?
There's
Is
two,
there
yeah.
two? Because I thought I
Yeah,
noticed that.
so one of the comments was, hey, what about the homestead? Because they've got like the old Every Williams
Oh,
sign,
yeah.
Skip's Gun Shop. But there is a possibility that will also end up on that the PV's hardware will end up somewhere on the exterior of the building. And then he's also replacing all that storefront glass and everything, and doors, and so he's working with Granite State Glass, and I think he said Granite State Glass or some other distributor, and he's gonna come to the Historic District Commission with a plan, so that plan can get approved, and then he can get that stuff in order, and hopefully get somebody in there within the next few months, so.
Good, that's awesome.
Yep, but trying to stay with the theme of, I know the France Ceramics redid their storefront, so he was kind of trying to stay with that same thing of keeping that black
Yeah.
trim look
Nice.
and painting those windows up top and everything.
Then we just gotta figure out the other building.
Which
The
one's
one on
that?
the end.
On the gun, yeah.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah, with the
yeah,
antiques.
yeah, that's what I told him, I said if you could buy
That's
that,
still-
and one across the street, that'd be
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
it's, that building is still under problems.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Other than that, Sands Village this weekend was great, thanks to the TTCC for everything they do with that, everybody that volunteered, and they did a great job with that as usual, so. Other than that, I don't have anything else I can say in public.
yeah, we have a small non-public.
Yep, public comments, Katie, got anything for us?
That's it.
All right, I would entertain a motion to go back into non-public session pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 91A semicolon 3, chapter 2.
So moved. Second.
9:05.
I had a motion by Legue, second by Sanchagrin, to go back into non-public session. Roll call vote, Sean,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Rob, aye, John,
Aye.
We're back in non-public.